On today's video, I'm going to be continuing on counting down the top 12 CGC comic book buys of 2021. What's going on, everybody? My name is Kevin Denia and welcome to my channel Superpower Review. I hope you guys enjoyed that brand spanking new intro. We have a new logo to the channel that I'm very proud of. I've been working on that all day, so thank you very much. I'm very proud of it. Today we're going to be continuing on counting down the top 12 CGC comic book buys of 2021. If you guys haven't watched part 1 yet, I highly suggest that you go ahead and do that, or maybe you can watch it after this video is over. I'll leave a link to that video in this video's description down below. So let's go ahead and get going here. We're going to be starting off with book number 6. Yay! We have book number 6 here. This is a fantastic book. This book still blows me away to this day. We have a Daredevil 131 CGC graded at a 9.6. This book is a beauty. A lot of books here in today's video, you're going to see that I actually made upgrades with the books that I bought. So this is a major upgrade. I had this book bought this year at a CGC 9.0. I decided that I didn't like the condition of the 9.0. I thought that the 9.0 didn't match the grade. I thought it could have been potentially like a lower grade, actually. Book was riddled with spine ticks. So I recently decided that I'm going to try to upgrade my books that are in a 9.0 or 9.2 to at least a 9.4 if possible. So I'm in the process of doing that right now, and this was one of the books. I sold it first, made some money on my 9.0, and used the money to buy this 9.6. By the way, this is the first appearance of Bullseye, and probably everybody's favorite villain for Daredevil. So coming in at number 6, we have Daredevil 131, CGC graded at a 9.6. Very impressive. Impressive book. But it's only going to get crazier from here, guys. Coming in at number 5, oh man, we have an Uncanny Xmen number 266. This is yet another book that I had bought for this year. I bought a 9.4, wasn't happy with the 9.4, and with the comic market going crazy astronomical, I decided to upgrade this one as well. So I went from a 9.4 to a 9.8. I got this book before it got any higher in price. First appearance of Gambit. Well, you know, the comic community has a whole thing with this. Is it his real first appearance? No, not really. I would agree with those people that the annual is his first full appearance, but it's his first cover appearance, and it's his first appearance in the Uncanny Xmen title. There you go. I said it. Shots fired. But man, what a fantastic grade to have this book in, a 9.8. It's quite hefty of a book. So coming in at number 5, Uncanny Xmen number 266, the first cover appearance of Gambit, and the first appearance of Gambit in an Uncanny Xmen title. CGC graded at a 9.8, baby. Bam! Bam. Oh, hot damn. This next book, yet again, it's like all 3 in a row. Bought this book, wasn't happy with the grade, decided to sell the other one, and use the money to purchase on the upgrade. We have a Batman, Vengeance of Bane, special number 1, CGC graded at a 9.8. And this book, I would have to say, is definitely the deal of the year. Okay, this, again, with the comic market going crazy, this book was slowly starting to creep up. I picked this up from a IG comic community member for, I think it was like $450, something like that. Crazy, because it's a yellow label. I think at the time when I bought this, a blue label was going for about $800 or so, or $700, around in that price range. So I will never forget the crazy deal I got on this one. This is signed by Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan, both of the creators of Bane. Bane is one of my favorite Batman villains of all time, and I feel like I'm close to Bane too, because he also comes from the 90s, and you know, I'm a child from the 90s, so and I just love big hulking villains anyway. So really cool book. The intention was not to get a yellow label. It was meant to, you know, buy a blue label in this grade, but I definitely could not beat that deal of getting one signed. So again, we have Batman Vengeance of Bane #1, CGC graded at 9.8, double signed, coming in at #4. Boom. All right. And it just gets even more insane from here on out. So here we are in the top 3. This is, oh man, #3 is a Daredevil #1. CGC graded in a whopping 1.0. This is by far the lowest graded comic book I have in the collection now. I will never forget buying this comic book. This is the first appearance of Daredevil, by the way, if you haven't figured that out. Man, what a story I have on this book. So I went to the flea market. It's the Random Flea Market. I've done at least 2 videos on this flea market, so you can check it out on the channel. Went there with my buddy Mark Spector Comics, saw it, and I was like, man, that's actually a really good deal for that comic book. And then, of course, some of the news came out about, you know, Matt Murdock possibly appearing in the new Spider-Man movie. So this book jumped a little bit because of Daredevil possibly going in the MCU. And so I was like, you know, I better go to that flea market and go pick up that book, because that book will no longer be in that price range ever again. And so I went there, haggled it out. I almost nearly had like a panic attack buying this comic book. I don't like going to flea markets with a good chunk of change. I feel uncomfortable with it. But ended up picking this up, was having an anxiety attack while buying it, and I can't believe it, man. So this book has grown so much ever since I bought it. The investment is definitely there. This book has, I want to say, doubled in value from what I paid for it back in January. This was actually the first comic book buy of 2021, actually. We got cream to off-white pages, unfortunately. I mean, the book is definitely beat. But I will say this, okay? I know it's a 1.0, but there is, you know, the book is fully intact. There is nothing missing from the comic book. There's no tape on the comic book. There's no restoration. It is all complete, and it's all originally there. So that is one thing I definitely can't complain about. There are some comic books that are higher than this book, 1.8s, 2.0s, and you'll see that it has tape on the cover or something. So, and that whole ordeal is just not for me. I don't want any tape on my comic books. I don't want any extra staples, and that's why I really love this one a lot and went for this one, because again, I just don't want all that stuff on my comic books. I do plan on sending this to CGC at some point to get a reholder. This is also the only slabbed comic I have in the collection with the older CGC slab. I hate the older CGC slabs. I think they're atrocious and disgusting. This one's also actually cracked on the side too. So going to be sending this one off to CGC to get a reholder. Very happy to own this one in the collection. This was actually the grail for the year too. So coming in at #3, we have a Daredevil #1, CGC graded at a 1, 1.0. And for #2, man, it just keeps getting crazy and crazier. For #2, we have Werewolf by Night #32, the first appearance of Moon Knight in a 7.0. Man, oh man. So the people who are watching this video probably thought this was #1. And if you thought this was #1, I wonder if you know what #1 is going to be. But anywho, let's give this book some introduction. First appearance of Moon Knight. Gorgeous, gorgeous book. Most expensive comic book buy to date. This book has been on fire lately with the news of Moon Knight having his own series on Disney Plus, being introduced into the MCU. And it's just a phenomenal comic book. The cover is epic. Love how he's throwing those moon-shaped shuriken at the werewolf. And, you know, I love epic battles in my comic books, and that's exactly what you get in this comic book. There is an epic fight. I mean, not too much of an epic fight. I would have to say it's just a manslaughter of Moon Knight just kicking the werewolf's ass. Really, really happy to own this one in the collection. And I said in my previous video, I wish I had gotten to Moon Knight sooner. I mean, if I had grabbed this comic book, I don't know, maybe 2 years earlier than I thought about doing, I would have definitely, you know, got this book a whole lot cheaper. But hey, what are you going to do? You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. Fortunately for me, I have won a lot when it comes to comic book collecting. So really happy to add this to the collection. So at number 2, we have Werewolf by Night, number 32. CGC graded at 7.0, the first appearance of Moon Knight. All right. So here it is, guys. Number 1, drum roll. Number 1, we have, oh man, Maximum Carnage number 1, the Acclaim variant. I recently just picked this book up. I did a video on it with all the information that you possibly need to know about this comic book. Just a little, I'll do a little brief description of this comic book that I did in this video. So this is the Maximum Carnage number 1 Acclaim variant. This is CGC graded at a 9.6. This is not really a comic book. It's half of Spider-Man Unlimited number 1, the part 1-2 Maximum Carnage. It's half of that book there. This is a promotion comic book for when you bought the Maximum Carnage video game for Super Nintendo back in 1993, I think, 94. And if the video game store had this comic book, with every purchase of the game, they would give one out. Nobody took this comic book seriously, you know, this book ended up getting thrown in the trash. This comic book is also very cheaply made. The paper is super, super thin, and most of the time, the pages come right off the staples on this comic book. So getting this comic book in good condition, near mint condition, is extremely, extremely tough. There are only 200 copies graded from CGC, and I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say there's at least 20 CGC graded in a 9.6. Don't quote me on that, but it's very, very low. This book was not even on the wish list for this year. It just came up. I ran in some funds, and someone had it for sale. I threw them on offer, and I ended up picking it up. And like I said, getting this book this year was insane. One of my favorite covers. This book is super, super nostalgic to me from back in the 90s when I used to play Maximum Carnage. And I think that's why this one is definitely coming in at number 1. The rarest comic book I have in the collection. Wasn't meant to, be brought in the collection this year, and got it for a really good deal, and that's why this one is coming in at number 1. If it has Spider-Man or symbiotes on it, it's definitely going to be number 1. So guys, that is going to do it for the top 12 CGC comic book buys of 2021. Again, if you liked anything that you saw in this video, be sure to smash that like button. Let me know in the comment section what was your favorite comic book that was featured in this video. And if you're new here to the channel, I want you to click on that subscribe button to show your support. I'm Kevin Videnia for Superpower Review, and I will see you guys next time.